Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Pure Speak English. I'm Ben.
And I'm Crystal. We're so happy you're here with us today.
You know, Crystal, before we even start talking about today's topic, I just want to say something to everyone listening right now. If you pressed play on this episode, that means you care about your English. That means you're trying. And honestly, that's everything.
It really is. And today, we're going to talk about something that so many learners struggle with, something that keeps people quiet in conversations, something that makes people nervous before they even open their mouth.
Confidence.
Exactly. We're going to talk about how to build your confidence slowly, step by step, in a way that feels safe and natural.
Because here's the truth. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being brave enough to try, even when you're scared.
And we want you to know that it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to speak slowly. All of that is part of the journey.
So, today we're going to share some stories, some ideas, and some really practical advice that you can use in your real life. Not just theory, real things you can do today.
And we're going to do it all in simple, clear English, B1 level, which means it's perfect for intermediate learners. But don't worry, we'll explain any harder words along the way.
So, get comfortable. Maybe you're on a walk, maybe you're at home, maybe you're on the bus. Wherever you are, just relax. Take a deep breath, and let's talk about building confidence, slowly, gently, and kindly.
So, Ben, let me ask you something. When did you first feel confident speaking English?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Honestly, Crystal, it took me a really long time. I remember when I was younger, I was learning Spanish, and I was so afraid to speak. I knew the words in my head, but when I tried to say them out loud, I just froze.
Froze. That means you stopped moving, like ice. You couldn't speak.
Exactly. I just couldn't get the words out. My mind went blank, and I felt so embarrassed.
I think everyone listening can relate to that feeling, that moment when you want to say something, but the fear is stronger than the words.
Yes, and for me, the turning point came when I stopped trying to be perfect. I remember I was in a small cafe in Mexico, and I wanted to order a coffee. I practiced the sentence in my head like 10 times, but when the waiter came, I still said it wrong.
What did you say?
I said, quiero un café con leche, which means I want a coffee with milk, but I said it so awkwardly. My pronunciation was terrible. I even mixed up the words a little bit.
But did you get your coffee?
I did. And you know what? The waiter smiled. He didn't laugh at me. He didn't correct me in a mean way. He just said, sí, claro, and brought me my coffee. And in that moment, I realized something really important.
What was it?
That communication is more important than perfection. The goal isn't to sound like a native speaker. The goal is to connect with people, to share ideas, to be understood.
I love that. Communication over perfection. That's such an important idea.
And once I understood that, everything changed. I started speaking more. I made more mistakes, sure, but I also had more conversations. I learned faster. I felt more free.
That's beautiful, Ben. And I think that's the first lesson for today. You don't need to be perfect to be confident. You just need to be willing to try.
Exactly. So if you're listening right now and you feel scared to speak English, I want you to remember this. Every mistake you make is proof that you're trying, and that's something to be proud of.
Okay, so let's talk about some practical ways to build your confidence, because it's not just about mindset. There are real, specific things you can do.
Yes, and the first one is this. Start small. Don't try to have a 1-hour conversation in English on your first day. That's too much pressure.
Right. Instead, set tiny goals. Maybe your goal today is just to say hello to someone in English, or to order a coffee in English, or to introduce yourself in English.
Exactly. These are small actions, but they build up over time. Each time you do something small, you prove to yourself that you can do it, and that builds confidence.
It's like building a muscle. You don't go to the gym and lift the heaviest weight on your first day. You start with something light, and then, slowly, you get stronger.
I love that metaphor. Confidence is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
And here's another practical tip. Practice in a safe environment first. Don't jump into a high-pressure situation if you're not ready.
What do you mean by a safe environment?
I mean, a place where you feel comfortable. Maybe that's talking to yourself in the mirror. Maybe it's recording yourself on your phone. Maybe it's talking with a friend who is patient and kind.
Or even talking to us. Right now, as you listen to this podcast, you can repeat what we say. You can pause and practice the sentences. This is a safe space.
Exactly. And once you feel comfortable in a safe space, you can slowly move to more challenging situations, like talking to a stranger or joining a language exchange or speaking in a meeting.
It's all about gradual progress, slow and steady.
Yes, because confidence isn't something you wake up with one day. It's something you build little by little every single day.
Now, let's talk about something really important, self-talk.
Oh, this is huge. Self-talk is the way you speak to yourself in your mind. And for so many learners, their self-talk is really negative.
Right. They say things like, I'm so bad at English, or I'll never be fluent, or everyone is better than me.
And those thoughts are so damaging because your brain believes what you tell it. If you keep saying you're bad at English, your brain will accept that as truth.
So we need to change the way we talk to ourselves. We need to be kinder, more encouraging, more patient.
Yes, instead of saying, I'm so bad at English, try saying, I'm learning English and I'm making progress every day.
Instead of saying, I'll never be fluent, say, fluency takes time and I'm on the right path.
Instead of saying, everyone is better than me, say, everyone's journey is different and I'm proud of mine.
Do you hear the difference? It's not about lying to yourself. It's about being realistic and kind.
Exactly. And this kind of self-talk can completely change the way you feel about learning English. It can give you the courage to keep going, even when things are hard.
So I want to give everyone listening a small challenge right now. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, every time you catch yourself thinking something negative about your English, I want you to stop, pause, and replace that thought with something kind.
That's a beautiful challenge, and I really believe it can change the way you see yourself.
Because confidence starts in your mind. If you believe you can do it, you're already halfway there.
Now let's talk about something that makes a lot of people nervous, speaking in front of others.
Yes, this is one of the biggest fears for language learners, the idea of speaking English when other people are listening.
And I get it, because when you speak in front of others, you feel like you're being judged, like everyone is waiting for you to make a mistake.
But here's the thing, most people aren't judging you. They're actually impressed that you're speaking a second language, because most people can't do that.
That's so true. Think about it. If you speak English as a second language, that means you know at least 2 languages. That's amazing. Most native English speakers only know 1 language.
Right, so you're already doing something incredible. Don't forget that.
And if someone does judge you for making a mistake, that says more about them than it does about you, because kind people don't judge others for trying.
Exactly. So here's what I recommend. When you speak in front of others, focus on your message, not on your mistakes. Think about what you want to say, not about how perfectly you're saying it.
Yes, because people care about your ideas. They care about your story. They don't care if you use the wrong verb tense.
And if you do make a mistake, it's okay. You can laugh about it. You can correct yourself, or you can just keep going. Mistakes are not failures. They're part of the process.
I want to tell everyone something really important. Native speakers make mistakes too, all the time. We say the wrong word, we forget what we wanted to say, we stumble over our sentences.
It's true. English is hard even for native speakers.
So if native speakers make mistakes, why should you be perfect? You shouldn't. Just be yourself. Be human. That's enough.
All right, Crystal, I think it's time for your vocabulary breakdown. This is one of my favorite parts of the show.
Mine too. Okay, so in this section, I'm going to explain some of the more advanced words we use today. These are B2 level words, which means they're a little bit harder, but understanding them will help you speak more naturally.
And remember, we already used these words in our conversation, so you've heard them in context. Now Crystal is going to explain them clearly.
Perfect. Let's start. Crystal's vocabulary breakdown. All right, the first word is froze. Ben used this word earlier when he talked about being too scared to speak. When you freeze, it means you stop moving, like ice. You can't move your body, or in this case, you can't speak. It's like your fear makes you stuck. For example, I wanted to answer the question in class, but I froze. I couldn't say anything. The next word is awkwardly. This is an adverb. It describes how you do something in a way that feels uncomfortable or not smooth. When Ben ordered his coffee in Spanish, he said he spoke awkwardly. That means it wasn't smooth or natural. It felt a little uncomfortable. For example, she waved awkwardly at her neighbor because she forgot his name. Now let's talk about vulnerable. This is a really important word. Vulnerable means being open and honest, even when it's scary. It means showing your true feelings, even if people might judge you. When you're vulnerable, you're not hiding behind a mask. You're being real. For example, it's hard to be vulnerable, but it helps people understand you better. The next word is mindset. Your mindset is the way you think about things. It's your attitude or your mental approach. If you have a positive mindset, you think in a positive way. If you have a negative mindset, you think in a negative way. Changing your mindset can change your life. For example, she changed her mindset and started seeing challenges as opportunities. Another word is metaphor. A metaphor is when you compare two things to explain an idea. For example, when Ben said confidence is a muscle, that's a metaphor. He doesn't mean confidence is literally a muscle. He means it's similar to a muscle because you have to exercise it to make it stronger. For example, life is a journey is a metaphor. Life isn't really a road, but we use that comparison to understand it better. Now, gradual. This word means happening slowly, step by step, not suddenly, not all at once. When we talk about gradual progress, we mean progress that happens little by little over time. For example, learning a language is a gradual process. You improve a little bit every day. Let's talk about self-talk. This is the way you speak to yourself in your mind. It's your inner voice. Your self-talk can be positive or negative. If you have positive self-talk, you encourage yourself. If you have negative self-talk, you criticize yourself. For example, her positive self-talk helped her stay motivated during difficult times. The next word is damaging. This means something that causes harm or makes things worse. When we talked about negative self-talk being damaging, we meant that it hurts your confidence and your progress. For example, constant criticism can be damaging to a child's self-esteem. Another important word is impressed. When you're impressed, it means you think something is really good or admirable. You respect it. When Crystal said that people are impressed when you speak a second language, she meant they think it's amazing and they respect you for it. For example, I was really impressed by how well she spoke in front of the crowd. And finally, stumble. When you stumble, it means you trip or lose your balance, but we also use it for speaking. If you stumble over your words, it means you have difficulty speaking smoothly. You hesitate or make small mistakes. For example, he stumbled over his words during the speech, but everyone understood him anyway.
Thank you, Crystal. That was so helpful. I hope everyone listening took some notes, or maybe you'll go back and listen to that section again.
Yes, and remember, you don't have to memorize all these words today. Just hearing them and understanding them is enough. Over time, they'll become more natural to you.
Okay, now let's talk about something else that affects confidence: comparison.
Oh, this is a big one. So many learners compare themselves to others. They see someone who speaks English fluently and they think, I'll never be that good.
Right. Or they see someone who learned English in 2 years and they think, I've been learning for 5 years and I'm still not fluent. What's wrong with me?
But comparison is really dangerous because everyone's journey is different. Everyone has different opportunities, different challenges, different starting points.
Exactly. Maybe that person who learned in 2 years was living in an English-speaking country. Maybe they had a private teacher. Maybe they had more time to study. You don't know their situation.
And even if their situation was similar to yours, it doesn't matter because you're not them. You're you, and your journey is your own.
So instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you better today than you were a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago?
Yes, that's the only comparison that matters. Because if you're making progress, even if it's slow, you're moving in the right direction.
And progress is never a straight line. Some days you'll feel great, some days you'll feel like you're going backwards. But as long as you keep showing up, you're succeeding.
I want everyone listening to really hear this. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Trust your journey.
That's beautiful, Crystal.
Now let's talk about one more practical tip. Celebrate your wins.
Oh, I love this one. So many learners focus only on their mistakes. They forget to celebrate the things they did well.
Right, but celebrating your wins is so important because it reminds you that you're making progress. It gives you motivation to keep going.
And your wins don't have to be big. Maybe you had a 5-minute conversation in English today. That's a win. Maybe you understood a movie without subtitles. That's a win. Maybe you learned one new word. That's a win.
Yes, every small step is worth celebrating because those small steps add up to big changes over time.
So here's what I recommend. At the end of each day, write down one thing you did well with your English. Just one thing. It can be something tiny.
And then read that list at the end of the week. You'll be surprised at how much you've accomplished.
Because our brains naturally focus on the negative, we remember the mistakes more than the successes. But if you write down your wins, you train your brain to see the positive.
And that builds confidence because you start to see yourself as someone who is capable, someone who is improving, someone who is worthy of success.
You know, Crystal, I think one of the most important things we can say today is this. Confidence